Hi, everybody. Good morning. We're back. Trying to find it myself. I can see myself looking on my phone. So we are here. Yeah, look, it's you and I, John. Okay, Tina's here too. Yay. Hi, everyone. So we're going to spend a couple of minutes just allowing everybody to find us to start. And I want to say good morning once again. Thank you for all of you who joined us for meditation at 9:30. I hope you're feeling relaxed and refreshed and ready for a great day. Here we are together again. And so I'm going to welcome John Foltz over and say good morning. Here we go again.
Good morning. Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm well.
Good.
Excited to see you. Excited to be here. Back in my living room.
Here we are again. Right? I'm just going to set up a cot here.
No.
No.
That'd be fun.
I won't do that.
No. But I think it would be fun, like, once we get back, like, having to, like, commute together. You know, like, really commute together.
You're right. It'll be interesting.
It will be.
It will be.
Yes, it will be.
You'll have to drive again. Sorry. Sorry to inform you.
I'll have a commute again, so. Anyways, well,
because right now we just get to phone it in.
Yes.
But not really.
iPad it in, actually.
Yes, there we go.
We're iPadding it in. So I want to do a formal welcome to everyone who's finding us right now. Good morning. I'm Rev Katherine Economou, and this is our artistic director, John Foltz. We are the Center for Spiritual Living, Temecula Valley. We are two tiny little pieces of the Center for Spiritual Living, Temecula Valley. And this is our Sunday Unplugged celebration service during quarantine. So we want to send big hugs to everyone today, to all of our congregation and all of our friends out there, and a great big welcome to anyone who may be finding us for the first time online. That's the interesting thing. We've had people watching us from all across the country. I had a couple of emails from people outside of the country who found us on Facebook. And so that's pretty exciting.
It's pretty cool that the reach is further than we would probably ever have imagined.
I know, and here we are in a living room in Fallbrook doing service that's reaching all over the world.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Ain't technology great?
Technology can be great.
Yeah, it can be.
It can be. We're knowing that it's going to go smoothly
Yes.
today. But so here we are in week 8 of quarantine. How you holding up?
It's week 8. It's evident that it's week 8. Mm-hmm. But doing okay?
Yeah.
Doing okay.
Yeah. The interesting thing, you know what I saw this week?
What's that?
I like to comment on the things that I notice that are going on. This week in particular is the week of the haircut.
Oh.
Online.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
I've seen lots of people, videoing their home haircuts.
Yep.
It's the quarantine look.
I know, and I don't think it's supposed to be that funny, but it's hilarious.
But it is. It's totally hilarious.
I know. I was thinking, and he's probably going to kill me for this, but my husband actually got his hands on a Flowbee. Do you remember the Flowbee from the 80s?
Yes.
So the Flowbee is the machine that you hook into a vacuum, and it just and you rub it over your head. So he hasn't let me do it yet to do his haircut. I was hoping that I could.
Oh, that would be
talk
fun.
him into it. Would it be fun?
That would be fun.
And then I'll record that.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how I could make it into a fundraiser for the center, like cutting my husband's hair. I don't know.
That's a sad state of fundraisers.
Well,
right
I don't
there.
know, but it'd be hilarious.
It would.
once things open up a little bit more, that I could go and do people's haircuts.
Sure.
That could be fun.
Sure. Yes. I mean. Sure. It could.
He commented, "Love that Flowbee." I'm glad he's not mad at me. I was afraid he was going to come running in here and saying, "Stop talking about my Flowbee." But he looks great. Actually, it works really well. That's the other thing I need to say.
Is really good.
I'm surprised that they're not like selling them again. But so if you're struggling with your hair this week, there's a lot of people who are with you. And I find that we need to kind of make light of some of these challenging moments, right? You need to,
absolutely.
If you can laugh at it, then you can start to handle it a little bit better. So I'm trying to find some humor in all of this. And all of those wives who were shaving their husbands' heads this week was kind of hilarious. So
yes.
Are you getting close to that?
Well, I do think it's a little funny that right before all this went down, I finally went and got like the first haircut I'd had in a year.
Wow.
And I was like, you know what, I'm going to go every 2 months. Well, guess that's not going to happen. So I'm good for now. It's not to my shoulders or anything. So we'll see.
Yeah, good.
Oh, I'm good. I'll skip the Floby for now.
Okay,
If
well, let me know. I was going to offer.
Depending on how long we go with this.
They might like that if
might.
I did Floby on Sunday.
There's a fundraiser.
There you go.
Cutting John's hair on camera with a vacuum.
Okay, I think we need to get to it. So,
yeah.
So,
I'll take
all right.
one for the team.
Thank you. Well, we'll talk about that. But with that, we are hoping that you've all found us by now and that we're going to start our service. So, thanks for having fun with me. Here we go again.
It's again, like I said, it's what we got to do. We got to be able to laugh a little bit.
Exactly.
All right. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. And I rest and trust and breathe. And know in the stillness of this moment I am peace. In the stillness of this moment I am peace. In the stillness of this moment I am peace.
And so in the stillness of this moment, I am peace. The I am presence that is God, that is spirit, is the divine peace. And it is alive in every moment and here at the center of our being. For I know God is all, that infinite divine source of all life and all light, all truth is God. And it reveals itself in all things and in every moment, and it is alive here in this time, uniting us even though we are apart. For there is only one life, one light, one love, one truth. It is spirit expressing as all life. And so on this day, as we come together to remember the truth of our being, to celebrate the gift of this life, and to take a step deeper in our relationship to the divine, I know all unfolds in grace, in ease, and light, and joy. Through the songs and the prayers and the words spoken, God reveals itself so powerfully to each of us. And so how grateful I am for this coming together of hearts, of minds, and of spirits, and celebrating this divine spiritual adventure we are on that is life. And so I bless it and give thanks for it and allow it to be. And so it is. Amen.
And so it is.
Thanks. That was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Likewise.
Thank you.
Likewise. It was a nice follow-up to the Floby conversation.
I think so. I think we needed a little spiritual centering. So, but with that, we could do some singing.
We can. We've got a chant here. We did this one several weeks ago. It's Rickie Byars' Beckwith song, All Good, All Good. Mm-hmm. Super easy. Soul, let me know all is good. good one.
All right, so we have a reading this morning for you that comes from the book we've been working with, 365 Science of Mind, by the founder of religious science, Ernest Holmes. And this reading comes from page 148. And it starts with scripture from Psalm 28. The Lord is my strength and my shield. Therefore my heart greatly rejoiceth, and with my song I will praise him. And so just, if you're comfortable, close your eyes and open to taking in these words. God could not withhold anything from me. That which is God, God has given fully unto me to enjoy. The life of God is perfect. It is eternal. It is the essence of all things. That life is God's gift to me. Therefore, this fullness is within me, ready to manifest through me as I partake of it, since I am self-choosing, even though divinely endowed. I partake of my divinity only as I let it through. I am always in the midst of plenty everywhere. I now consciously begin to draw upon the life that is mine. I now begin to re-educate myself definitely by whatever steps I may, to a belief that there is given unto me a fullness of life, which is divine in its origin, eternal in its presence, and always fully available. The life of the Almighty is my life. The infinite richness of God is mine to enjoy. The vital good health, the wisdom, the joy, the peace of God are mine. All things that proceed from God may be mine. I now claim them. The act of taking is my right and privilege. I exercise it now intelligently and in full faith. And so from this place, I invite us to just breathe in that fullness of life. In God, there is an abundance. All things have come from this essence and presence of Spirit itself. And there is no lack and there is no limitation. And as part of this divine creation, I know that each of us is given all we need and more to live the fullness, the joy, and the fulfillment of this spiritual adventure which is our lives. And so just taking another breath and accepting it, allowing it in, I know that all is well. And so it is.
So it is.
Great. So I think you've got a song for us.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
I'm going to step over and let you do it.
You don't want to join me?
Nah. I don't think you need me as a backup singer. I'm not.
I think that might be a better fundraiser
Ah!
than the floating, actually. Karaoke with Rev Katherine.
Oh, God.
Good morning, everyone. It feels weird to say that and not have you audibly say it back to me, but I know I can feel your love coming from home. So, good morning, and love you, and I miss you all. Can't believe it's been 8 weeks. Let there be love that lives in every heart. Unlearn the fears that cause goodwill to depart. Take a breath, open up and impart. The only place we can start. Begin with love that lives in every heart. Let there be joy that dwells in every home. Untie the bonds that make us feel we're alone. Climb the walls, venture out, crack the dome. It follows wherever we roam. When there is joy that dwells in every home. and gone, when it stood no chance to survive. Poverty, injustice, war were very much alive. I say have some mercy, put the word back out on the street. There's no need for moving mountains when they crumble at your feet. Let there be peace that spreads all over the land. Unclench the fists that spew forth every command. Like the flame, be the change, understand. We hold it in our own hand. We are the peace that spreads all over the land. When there is joy that dwells in every home, begin with love that lives in every heart. Love you.
Thanks, John. I'm just turning it a little, because I turned it a little. Okay. That was beautiful.
Thank you. All right.
All right, we're going to switch.
We are.
It is my turn. Here we go, here we go, here we go now. All right, you going to see if I'm in the shot?
You're in the shot.
Okay. Think I'm going to stop talking with my hands this week?
No. But we'll see.
How it goes.
We'll see how it goes. I moved the camera back and up.
Okay.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
yeah, you're good.
Is that all right?
Yeah, you're good.
Thanks everybody for putting up with us trying to figure this all out. We also want to let you know that we do realize that there's been a little bit of an autofocus, mostly because I talk with my hands a lot. And we are in the process of upgrading our technology. So we, the next couple of weeks, we're looking into how we can make this even better. And we're heading towards that. So please know we're working on it. And we're so grateful for your patience and your participation. It's so great to see everybody pop on and say good morning. And so here we go. You know, I don't know about you, but this is getting to a point where it feels like I'm being stretched. I'm going to own it for me. I'm not going to own your experience. But the going on 2 months of this is really pushing us to a limit and to an edge that I don't think we have ever experienced before. And there's moments in this week, what I try to do is not only look at what my experience is in what's happening here during quarantine, but in my talking to people during our Spiritual Connection at 7 series, either in our morning or evening meditations, our Wednesday night connect, I've started a class, and in all of my talking to people, what I'm getting the same message, that it feels like we are being pushed to an edge that we've never felt before, and it's tiring, and a lot of people are feeling a weariness, right? I don't know about you, but I felt weary this week, and so weary for me is a combination of sadness, of frustration, and of uncertainty. And when we live in that energy for a long time, it just gets heavy. It feels like there's this weight on our shoulders and this this experience that we've never had before. You know, as quarantine continues, passions are flaring, right? Frustrations are rising, and that emotion needs to come out and be expressed. We can't repress it, because if we repress it, it's going to come out sideways. And we want to be careful about how we process and deal with these difficult emotions. But it's hard to watch what's going on in the world right now. I don't know about you, but for me, it's really difficult to see that that even though we have been a divided country for a while ideologically, it's getting worse. And in this time, it feels like it's a time of chaos, with all of the confusion of who to trust and what to believe and what's really happening and what all the other agendas are about. And that's bringing up a lot of fear. And that fear is turning into anger and some negative emotions. And so no wonder we're weary, right? No wonder we're experiencing this, because we have to hold it together for our loved ones, for our families, and for our kids. We're called upon to be a light and support to our friends, right? So many people are connecting online. These gifts of technology are allowing us to connect with friends from far and long ago. And we are really called to buoy each other up. So many people who are homeschooling their kids, listen, parents who are homeschooling, you got a couple of weeks left of that. I'm just telling you, there's light at the end of the tunnel of that, because I know that for some, that's a huge challenge. At the same time, they're trying to do their jobs from home somewhat successfully. You know, and so there's a lot happening right now. And I keep saying jokingly that a whole lot of life is happening right now, because there's always a whole lot of life happening. But it feels like it's amplified now. And so in the midst of this, all of our avenues of relief, all the normal ways that we find refreshment and comfort aren't there. I feel for my husband, who keeps saying when we drive by the movie theater, I just want to go to the movies, right? Like we can't escape to the movies. The beaches we could get to, but we can't sit and be present. That's part of the reason why I did a beach meditation today for all of you beach lovers who are just wanting to be on the beach. You know, we can't go to the beach. A lot of our outdoor activities are limited. And let me tell you, the one that's affecting me the most, my birthday's coming up in a couple of weeks, and I always spend my birthday at the spa, and the spas are closed, right? And so for me, that's one of those places that I can just go and spend a day and get refreshed and renewed just by relaxing, just by calming down and putting myself in a beautiful situation outside of the norm of my schedule and take care of myself. I take a book, I take a big sun hat, I take a book, I sit in the shade and just have a day. And so what I was thinking today is that because this sense of weariness is here, that we are called upon to be refreshed in the spirit. And so I'm inviting you this week to make an appointment at the spiritual spa. Let's have some fun with this. Because we need to take care of ourselves in a deep way. We need to find a way to process some of this challenge and these difficult emotions that are coming forward. And we need to take care of ourselves in a way that will allow us to move forward. Because let's face it, yes, things are starting to open up, but this situation is going on for a while. And we are going to have to find a new way to care for ourselves. This isn't a short, temporary situation. This is a new normal that's coming forward. This is a new way of being that's being born. And we can participate in bringing something beautiful and exciting forth. But we have to take care of ourselves first. We have to find a way to find peace. We have to find a way to let go of our anger and let go of our fear and let go of our pain, for not only for ourselves, but for our families. We cannot maintain high levels of stress for long periods of time without negative effects to our minds, to our bodies, and to our spirits. Our well-being depends on it. So my idea is for us to think about creating strategies to support us and keeping our health strong. We know that our immune systems are affected by our mindset. And so if we hold on to anger and resentment, if we jump into the chaos of the anger that's going around outside and all of the conspiracies and all of the ideas and all of that can just, you can get swept up in the energy of that. And what it does is it has actual negative effects on your physical well-being. And we need to keep our immune system strong right now. We need to keep ourselves well
and healthy and cared for. We can find ways to channel our emotions in healthy ways. We can deal with them, we can acknowledge them, we can process them, so that anger that you feel about our leadership or whatever situation is pushing those buttons that allow that anger to rise, it's not taken out on our kids or on our beloveds. Emotions need to be expressed. And if we don't find a way to process them, that's when it gets ugly and messy, and we're trying to avoid that. And we need to keep our eye on what's true. And I know right now that that's kind of a controversial thing for me to say, but what I can say is this: what is true is alive within you. What is true is the Spirit of God. And what we know about God is that it is ever creative, that it is ever revealing more of itself, and it is there for your goodness, for your expression, for your wholeness, for your fulfillment. And so when we get so tied up in the mess of what's happening out in the world, we forget to look within for our guidance. We're looking for wisdom and support from the outside world so much that we forget that it's all right there within us. That there is a deep connection to the wisdom of the One, and it's called your intuition and your knowing. Life is operating for your good, and we can be refreshed and renewed in the Spirit if we allow it. But we have to make room for it, and we have to remember it. We're taught this from the Bible. Jeremiah 31:25, God says, I will refresh the weary and satisfy the faint. From Isaiah 41:10, fear not, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And then from Matthew 11:28, come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. God is our source and our support. It can be if we allow it, if we connect to it, if we remember it. But it takes turning our attention within. It takes making that choice to turn off the news, to turn off the TV, to turn off our negative friends on Facebook and social media, and spend time in that sacred space of our hearts and our minds, knowing that we are connected to this power and this presence. You can instinctively feel deeply within that there's something greater than you. And it has your back. It has your best interest at heart. The one thing we can depend on in this moment is God. And so my question is, are you making room for it? Are you consciously connecting to it? Are you allowing that spiritual practice to keep you in that space of knowing that something greater is coming, is happening, and that this is not the way it will be, but we are in process with birthing something powerful? I believe that there's something, and that each and every one of us has a sense, a deep sense that there's something greater happening here. And it always is happening, but right now, again, with this global experience, something big is happening. And God's hand is right at the center of it. And when we can turn our attention upon that, then all of the other outside noise starts to calm down. And we can find a sense of peace. Ernest Holmes calls God the intelligent life principle. I love that. And from Living the Science of Mind, this is on page 107, he says this: when we use the word God or spirit, we do not mean a tribal God, but the supreme mind and power behind all of created form. The intelligence which responds to us, the intelligence which rises through the mineral, vegetable, and animal kingdoms and blossoms in the human mind as it approaches the conscious recognition that it is one with this oversoul. The picture, the idea that we work with is that there is one presence, this spirit of life, this spirit of God, this intelligence, this creativity, this power, this peace that runs through all of life. It is alive in everything that is animate and inanimate. And it has developed in consciousness through all of the forms of life. And it is that human is the greatest expression of its truth. And the amazing, sometimes frustrating and hilarious part of that is that we have a choice to choose to be separate from it, to believe that we're separate from it, to believe that we are not part of this divine life that is God expressing. And that's where we get ourselves all messed up. That's where we get all tied up in the frustration and the pain and the difficulty of life, when we don't remember that we are part of something greater. So it is life itself which strengthens us, which protects us, and which restores us when we're weary. But we need to choose to recognize it. And so today I'm going to invite you to make a couple of appointments in your day at the spiritual spa. And the first one we're going to talk about we're going to talk about our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. And so to start, we're going to start with our minds. And again, emotions are high right now. I don't know if you're experiencing it, but I see it all around. We're cramped in our houses, and even with loved ones, let's face it, it can get a little challenging. Even when everything is harmonious and peaceful, but when we are staying in our homes and we are not going out and we are not participating in life as normal, the stress can begin to rise. This is also a time that has been very difficult for people who are quarantined alone. My heart is with you, and I hope for those friends of ours who are alone and feeling that loneliness after 8 weeks of being quarantined, that you are reaching out. I'm hoping that you are taking advantage of this technology and the offerings that we have and that everybody has out in the world to connect through our technology, to allow you to realize that even though you may be alone in your house, you're not alone in your heart, because we are there for you. And so our minds can get all tied up in the challenge of what we're experiencing. You may find that you're experiencing a lot of those negative emotions. There is frustration and anger and fear and worry and concern and all of those negative emotions. They just start to rise and swirl around us, and we can be succumbed by them. But the idea is for us to realize that in that our emotions can be a gift. They can be a signpost to a deepening, to a healing, to a new way of being. The challenge is that we're in the grip of a negative emotion. It's hard to get perspective. It's difficult to see through into a new way of seeing what's happening. We see the whole world through the lens of that particular emotion. So if we're anxious, the future's always grim. If we're fearful, then we are surrounded by threatening situations. When we're angry, there isn't any situation or any person that can please us. When we're gripped with sadness, there isn't any room for joy or light or laughter. And when we're caught in that shame cycle, that we believe that everyone around us is judging us and that no one could accept or love us, which affirms that we're just not good enough. That's what happens to us when we are not processing those emotions. We get stuck seeing through the lens of those emotions, and that's just not the truth of our lives. Effective psychologists who study our emotions and our inner landscapes say that underlying our negative emotions is actually a nugget of truth. One that can easily get blown out and overinflated, which we've seen happen, right, over and over again. They think that all emotions have a purpose, and it's up to us to learn to discern and mine them for the wisdom. So, for example, fear and anxiety help us to respond rapidly to threats. That's their job. Anger helps us understand our own boundaries and issues of right and wrong. Sadness slows things down and allows us to begin to adapt to loss. And an acceptable dose of shame, not a whole heck of a lot of it, but a little bit of a feeling of shame, what it does is it wakes us up and helps us take into account what others may need from us to live together harmoniously. By increasing our attention and focus, mindfulness practices, our meditation, our conscious awareness, they help us awaken to the reactions that we have when these emotions rise. And they help us understand the reasons why they're happening. Our goal is get to a place where you can explore these emotions as they arise, where you can move out of the reactionary place and be in a place of witness, of the observer. And so instead of automatically reacting and letting that anger fly and letting that fear grip you, you can start to say, hey, look, I'm really afraid in this moment. What do I have to really be afraid of right now? My guess is that it's something that may possibly happen in the future. It's not happening in that moment. If you're afraid of something that's happening in that moment, you're going to get up and you're going to move out of the situation. You're going to shift it. But so often our fears and our worries are focused on the future. And as we know, as good religious scientists, we create our reality, we create our future. And you can see that by putting our attention on the fear, you're just creating more of that chaos. So we have tools to shift our awareness, to shift our consciousness, to know the truth, to reconnect to that power and that presence. So that's why the practice of meditation, to learn to move into that observer state, is so powerful in our lives, to find peace and openness. So this week, your first appointment of the day at the spiritual spa is a few moments of peace. Bringing your attention within and moving gently into that observer space. So maybe you have a comfortable chair in your home that's by a window with some beauty. Maybe you're still in a space where you can be outside and look at a piece of nature. Maybe it's even just laying down on the floor and listening to some beautiful meditation music that allows you to begin to observe your thoughts without reacting to them. That is going to refresh your soul. That practice done daily is going to bring great support and peace of mind to you and let some of that weariness go. So your first appointment is an appointment with meditation and mindfulness. But not only will this bring peace of mind to your mind and your heart, but it's good for your body. And so next we're going to address the physical body here. You know what? I'm going to encourage you to care for and be gentle with your bodies in this time. These magnificent vehicles that we get to explore this world in this life, in this time, it's so important that we care for them. It's important that our physical bodies are kept up in energy and in vitality to handle all that we're being called to handle in these days. Again, our immune systems, we want to keep them high and healthy. We want to keep our physical body moving and in a great shape to be able to navigate this time. So not only do we care for our body by feeding it well, by moving, but we also need to hold it in love, in our minds. Our body is part of the body of God. It's made in the image and likeness of God, and it is a gift to each and every one of us. It's precious. And so I want you to think about how you would handle if God gave you a gift. If God showed up at your door and said, here, this is for you. How would you treat that gift? Would you throw it away? Would you just chuck it in the closet with all the other stuff that I need to clear out of my closets? Or would you care for it? Would you hold it in awe as that precious gift that it is? That's your body. That is that is the tone and the way that we want to care for our physical bodies. So maybe in this time it's about giving yourself more rest. Maybe it's about pushing yourself a little bit more and taking that long hike or that long walk. Maybe it's stretching or finding there's so many amazing exercise classes online these days. Maybe it's time for you to try something new. But we want to feed ourselves with nutritious, healthy, live foods. We want to be able to hold it in esteem and care for it beautifully and powerfully. Because let me tell you, we want these vehicles to last for a long time. We do not want this body deteriorating and being the reason why this spiritual adventure is cut short. So we want to do everything we possibly can do to care for it, to love it, and to allow it to be the gift that it is. And so the third aspect is caring for your spirit. And what I want you to do is to remember and wake up to the fact that this is a spiritual life. We can think that we're walking around and having this life and this is all that it is and everything that's happening out in the world is just at face value. But it is not. This is a spiritual adventure. This is a divine God experiment, and each and every one of us is part of it. And life, every aspect of life has spiritual significance and meaning for us. And we need to remember that. So as we make appointments to take care of our minds in meditation, and we make an appointment to care for our body and love it in a new way, with food and with movement and with rest and with love, we also need to move into this experience of taking care of our spiritual life. We need to remember God daily. We need to make room for it. God has his hand in all of the things that we're experiencing. And we need to deepen our ability to hear God's guidance, to deepen our connection to our intuition and our knowing, and to see the hand of God in all the situations all around us. Now, that reminds me of a story, the parable of the flood. And I know I've shared this before, but I want us to remember this. It's a story of a man who was trapped in his house during a flood. And he began to pray to God to rescue him. And he had a vision in his head of God's hand reaching down and carrying him out of the danger. He had a very strong faith. The water started to rise in his house, and his neighbors urged him to leave, offering him a ride to safety. And the man yelled back, "I'm waiting for God to save me." And then the neighbor drove off down the road. The man continued to pray and hold that vision of God's hand rescuing him. And as the water began to rise in his house, he had to climb up onto the roof. A boat came by with some people headed to higher ground. They yelled at the man to grab a rope they were ready to throw and take him to safety. And he told them, "It's okay, I'm waiting for God to save me." They shook their heads and they moved on. And the man continued to pray, believing with all his heart that he would be saved by God. The floodwaters continued to rise, and a helicopter flew by, and a voice came over the loudspeaker, offering to lower a ladder and take him off the roof. The man waved the helicopter away, shouting back that I'm okay, I'm waiting on God to save me. And the helicopter left again, shaking their heads at him. The flood water came up over the roof. It caught him, swept him away, and he was drowned. When he reached heaven, he asked, "God, why didn't you save me? I believed in you with all my heart. Why did you let me drown?" And God replied, "Look, I sent you a pickup truck, a boat, and a helicopter, and you refused all of them. What else could I possibly do for you?" We need to realize that God has its hand in all of creation and everything that's happening. And so even in the midst of this moment, even in the midst of what's happening in the world today, God is in the middle of it. But we have to discern, use our spiritual sight to see it. And the way that we do that is by connecting to our intuition and realizing that everything is spiritual. There is not just spirituality and everything else. Everything is spiritual. And so the work that we're doing right now is to see through the difficulty, to see through the pain, to see through the things we don't like and we don't understand. And even if we can't understand how God is in it, we need to be able to say, God is in this too. And ask, show me. Show me how. Show me how the divine life is being expressed through this. Show me how God's love is coming into more of an experience of this. Show me how I can find a deeper peace in this. So our third appointment this week for our spiritual spa is I'm going to invite you to connect and spend some time with beauty, because that is the place where we truly can find God. I've got a friend who has a new grandbaby, and she's been spending time every day on Zoom with her new grandbaby, and there's such beauty in that. You can't help but see the divine life in new life. Maybe it's going out and spending time. This is such a beautiful time of year here in Southern California, and I hope wherever you are, you're finding the beauty also, and that spring has sprung. Our roses are blooming, our trees are blossoming, and there's beauty all around us. Maybe it's in the face of a loved one, of your beloved. But this week, I want you to behold the beauty of this life. Because when you can start to behold the beauty of this life, you can feel the presence of God. And that will refresh you. That will renew you. That will bring more understanding and a deeper ability to see beyond our limitations. To see beyond our fears. To be able to begin to see God in all things. And so this week, again, I'm going to invite you to take some time to find refreshment in the spirit for your mind, for your physical bodies, and for your life itself and for your spirit. And we do that by making space for God. We could all use some peace and refreshment right about now. And instead of going to our addictive habits, instead of going to our avoidance techniques, instead of trying to pretend that everything's okay, we could find a deeper sense of well-being by addressing it, by looking at it, by being with it. And in that you will find refreshment. In that you will find guidance. In that you will find the truth of who you are, which is the fact that you are stronger, you are wiser, and you have more resources than you could ever imagine. Because yes, you were made in the image and likeness of God. You are the gift of God to this world. And as we surrender any sense of limitation, and we surrender the idea that we are separate and we have to suffer, and all of those negative ideas that we hold about ourselves, we can find new life. We can be renewed and refreshed in the spirit. And so that's my wish for you this week, that you take some time to connect, to remember, and to allow God to bring peace into your experience, because I know it'll happen. I look forward to seeing it unfold in your lives. Please let me know how it goes for you and how refreshed you feel after your day at the spiritual spa. And so it is. Thank you. Isn't this so funny?
It is. It's wonderful. It is. Great. I love the talk about the spa. The
Yes.
spiritual spa. It's
I'm
very
missing a spa.
apropos, and I've seen a few people comment on there, but I don't know if everybody can hear the birds chirping outside. It does kind of feel spa-like,
Right.
Which is very nice.
Well, good. I'm glad.
It's very nice.
I'm glad.
Yes. So, the song I'm going to do right now is one that we have done as a community before for our congregational song, but it felt really appropriate to do today as a special music selection. But that said, please feel free to sing along at home if you know it. Love is my decision. give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on and preach. Love is my decision. No one else can help me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision. It's my decision, right here and now. It's my decision, right here and now. Love to you all.
That's great.
Just a pro tip for anyone. I shouldn't look at the comments while I'm singing the song because I'm almost bursting out in laughter at the beer drinking song, but spiritual comment by our one and only Rev Katherine. It's very funny, but I almost didn't get through the third verse.
You're not supposed to read the comments.
I was looking down at my lyrics, and all of a sudden I saw a name that looked like yours, and I'm like, oh, what did she say?
Well, I do a segment every week called Behind the Scenes.
Oh.
I don't know if you've noticed that.
I've noticed you
taking pictures,
doing fun stuff with your camera over there, and I've seen it a couple times. I didn't know you did it every week.
Well, I missed a week, so I try to do a behind-the-scenes version of what we're doing around here because I think it's hilarious that we're doing church from my living room.
It is pretty funny.
It is very funny, and we have to have some fun too because again, we know that you're all out there, but we see a camera, and we want to see you, and so I'm trying to have some fun. So
that's totally fine.
What's that called? The cadence of that? It just felt like it was a.
It's very like grab your beer stein and.
Yeah. So anyways, not a beer, coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee is my decision.
Exactly, but I love that song. And
yes,
so
it is a good one. It is funny that it does have that feel to it.
Okay, so again, this is the time of our service when I'm going to remind you and encourage you to continue to support the center and the vision of this spiritual community. We are so grateful for everyone who's been continuing to give. Again, I'm going to encourage you to get on to our auto tithe program so you don't even have to think about it, that your offering comes every month without even having to worry about it. And for all of those who are sharing your offering through our channels. So there's our donate button on our website that is CSLTV.org, or the calls that you make. I have to tell you, Diane Keys, again, our administrator at the office, is sitting there by herself waiting for some phone calls. So if you would like to call the office at 951-304-0268, every week I'm like afraid I'm going to get that wrong, but 951-304-0268 is our phone number, and she's waiting, and she loves hearing from you and connecting with you. And she can run a credit card there, or you could even mail in an offering to the church, and we'll gladly accept it, and we're so grateful for the support. Again, we are still responsible for all of our monthly bills, including our rent, our lease at the space, and trying to stay current with all of that. So we're grateful for your ongoing support and for your ongoing support of the vision of our community. So I'm going to invite you to just take your offering into your heart, and in whatever way you're going to give it today, and just realize that this is a gift of God, that as we sit here in this abundant universe, I know that we open to being sourced and supported from on high, and allow that gift to go to that which we want to see grow and expand, that which feeds and nurtures us, that which brings great peace, support in troubled times. And I know it is the vision of the Center for Spiritual Living Temecula Valley. And so I know that this offering goes forth to support our technology, to support our expansion, to support being a presence and a light in the world. And this allows us to be that channel of divine love. And so I bless it, I give thanks for it, and simply allow it to be, and so it is. So, affirmation, ready?
Yes.
Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now.
Blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant. We rest in God and say, Amen. Blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant. We rest in God and say, Amen. Let our joy be so triumphant. We rest in God and say,
The best. We're so blessed with John Foltz. Oh my goodness, can we see the hearts fly for that? Because
lots
he's
of hearts.
Amazing.
You
are the most amazing. Well,
yes.
It'll catch up.
I feel the love.
Yes. Well, I'm so grateful for you and
Yes.
for playing with me with this in my living room.
Okay. I'll say I'm very impressed that you get that phone number off the cuff.
Yeah.
Like every week.
It just took me.
I don't know that I know my own phone number.
6.5 years.
Well,
so I should know it
sure.
by now, but. Okay, so let's see. I've got some announcements. First, I want to do some thank yous. I want to send a big, huge hug and a great thank you to Tina Foltz, our practitioner who is hosting the service. She's our friend there who's commenting on all your comments, and she's such a great support for us. And Tina, we're just so grateful for you. Thank you so much. I want to send a big thank you to Diane Keys, our administrator at the office, waiting for phone calls. Diane, thank you for all that you do in support of this spiritual community. We could not be here without those two. They're amazing. So thank you very much. And I've got a few announcements for you. So I want to remind you of our weekly things that are happening. So again, Spiritual Connection at 7 series, 7 a.m., 7 p.m., 20-minute meditation led by one of our ministerial team. It's such a great way to ground yourself in God. And I need to say to all of our friends who have not been coming to our Spiritual Connection at 7, our friends who are coming to the Spiritual Connection at 7 are handling this much better. really well, and that they have been sharing with us how important it has been in their experience. And so I get every week, why aren't more people coming? And we do have about 12 to 15 people on just about every time, but the idea that if you are wanting to find some peace, if you are wanting to find some connection, join us on our Zooms, on our Zoom meetings. You know, if you're a morning person, 7 a.m. is perfect. If you're not a morning person, that's me, 7 p.m. is perfect. And on Wednesday nights, we do a deeper dive, a little check-in, and some meditation, so it's a little bit longer. But we invite you to reach out, because you know what, this is going on still. And we don't want you to feel alone, and we don't want you to feel unconnected. So please join us for one of those. Our men's group continues to meet weekly at 9 o'clock on Wednesday mornings. You can reach out to Reverend Michael Summers for that. Our Women's Sisters in Spirit group, they're having a weekly breakfast on Thursdays at 9 o'clock, and that's Pam Migliosi. And the book group, I think, is finishing their current book and is getting ready to launch a new one. And so as soon as I have that information, we'll be sharing it with you. And that's on Wednesday mornings also. So those are our weekly regular connections. And of course, you and me on Sundays.
You and me on Sundays.
Meditation at 9:30, service at 10. You found us, so you'll know where we are. So the other things that are going on is that we started a couple of online classes last week. I'm teaching the Beyond Limits class, which is a foundational level class. So listen, this is the scoop. If you are new to spirituality, if you're new to the Center for Spiritual Living, and you're interested in learning some more about it, to dive into it a little bit more, or if you are one of our veterans, you've been around for a long time, and you want to go back to the beginning again, and reaffirm these principles in your life from the new perspective, I'm teaching the Beyond Limits class, looking at the tenets of the science of mind and spirituality from the view of how we're handling the pandemic. And so I'm trying to make it real and relevant. As you know, for me, spirituality has to be real, it has to be relevant, and so we're teaching tools and ways of seeing things to bring more peace, more understanding, and more perspective to your life. So that's Tuesday night. It's not too late to join it. Just email me, Rev Katherine at CSLTV.org, and I'll get you the information. Also, Dr. Victoria Bomberry is teaching a class called Training for 21st Century Mystics. She started last week, but I think she's going to let people in one more week also. And that's looking at the works of mystics and how we can develop our intuition and our mystical nature. So that's another one that'll be wonderful too. It's also on Tuesday nights. And you could email me and I could send it off to her, or you could email her directly. Her information is on our website. But the big news is this. For all of our members, we are having our annual meeting today at noon via Zoom. And we're having a board election, but we're also going to be talking about the steps that need to happen for us to reopen the center. And so I'm going to invite you after this, have a little bite, get out of bed if you're in bed, whatever you need to do, but then get on your computer again, and I just picture sitting in bed.
Seriously, if I wasn't here,
having
I'd be
their
in
coffee,
bed.
Watching in bed. I just think. But anyway, so I invite you to get up and then get back on the computer on the Zoom link that you could find in my email that I sent out this week, on the website, on the Facebook. You can find the Zoom link and join us for our annual meeting at 12 o'clock. Yes. We want to talk about really what's happening and what's going to need to happen for us to be back in person. So we are going to do all of the closing out of 2019 like we're supposed to, but then we're going to have a conversation about this and our board election. So with bringing on a couple of board members. So I invite you to join us at 12 o'clock.
And Tina did post that link just now in the comments.
Thank you,
as well.
Tina. See,
yes,
she's so amazing.
She is on top of it.
She is on top of
Inside.
it. Thanks, Tina. I'm not going to ask if Tina's doing it from her bedroom, but that's okay. It's okay.
I'm pretty sure she's on the couch today, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, with that, let's do some prayer work and just affirm that divine connection. So I invite you to join me with a breath, gently turning your attention within and connecting to that spirit at the center of your heart. For I know that this is God, that powerful creative force, that spirit that has loved you from before time, that uniting, interconnecting Spirit of life. I know God as that divine creator. And that creative force is moving through each and every one of us, allowing us to open in this unity of being to create peace, harmony, and love. And no matter what it looks like in the outside world, I know that God is being born in this. And it is being born through each of us. And so as we surrender any sense of limitation, as we surrender the fear and we surrender the worry and we surrender the pain of this moment, we can move into that peace, taking a step even deeper within, allowing that divine peace to resonate and radiate in our being and out into our lives, calling forth a deeper walk with the truth of our being. Him in whom we live and move and have our being. And so I claim that divine support for each and every one of us. I claim peace. I claim support. And I claim love. And I know that this week unfolds in that divine grace and light and brings forth this powerful divine sight, experience, and a greater understanding of the truth of who we are. And so I bless it, I give thanks for it, and surrendering my word, I know all is well. Truly, and so it is.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient, didn't know the love of God was at hand. Now I can say, if you are discouraged, you're struggling just to make it through another day, you got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say, I release and I let go, let the Spirit run my life. My heart is open wide, yes I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
One more shout out I have to give before we close today. Our own Seth Mclaughlin,
Oh,
who's
yes.
a senior at Temecula Valley High School, was chosen a Student of the Year. And so we want to send all of our love and congratulations to
Absolutely.
Seth, to his parents who've done a great job with him,
So
and
cool.
such a powerful affirmation of this amazing kid that we've known and we've seen grow up at our center. We love you, Seth. We're very proud of you, and we know that you're not having the senior year that you thought you would have, but we know that your future is so bright and you are such a gift to us and to the world. So congratulations. And with that, I simply know that there is divine refreshment and restoring of our souls simply when we turn to God. And so it is.
So it is.
Everybody have a great week. We love you. We'll see you online soon. Take care.